What up, what up, what up, what up, everybody? It's your big homie in the building, the Fresh King, aka Angels of Fire, and welcome to another episode of the Performers Podcast. Thank you so much for joining in and being a part of the movement. I appreciate everybody out there who have been watching, subscribing, liking, comment, sharing, and all that jazz. I appreciate all y'all out there for taking the time out to watch my content. Yo, we still in the summer, yo, we gonna talk about, man, not many people talk about this topic, and I want to talk about this topic because, and I'm going to be answering questions related to this topic. So we're gonna talk about about domestic abuse. Like, we're gonna I'm gonna answering like questions. Well, pretty much, I'm gonna be answering questions. I'm gonna be answering questions about domestic disturbance. That's what I'm trying to get, not abuse. The domestic disturbance. Now, I know you guys wondering what does it mean. Yo, so we gonna go into that because that's actually the first question, because I come up with a bunch of questions about domestic disturbance. So I'm about to give you a meaning of what domestic disturbance is about. So the first question is, what constitutes a domestic disturbance? And it is, a domestic disturbance is any conflict or altercation between individuals in a domestic setting, such as a home or family environment. This can include verbal arguments, physical altercations, and any behavior that causes a disturbance to the peace and safety of those involved. Domestic abuse involves a pattern of behaviors used by one person to control or harm another, or in a domestic setting, such as in a marriage or a cohabitation. So this can include like physical violence, emotional manipulation, financial control, and sexual abuse. Yeah. So the next question is, what are the most common causes of domestic disturbances? Now, I'm gonna tell you what causes it. The common causes include financial stress, substance abuse, relationship conflicts, mental health issues, and external stressors such as job loss or illness. That's what causes domestic disturbances. The next question is, what should a witness do if they observe a domestic disturbance? Well, I based on my answers, I wrote it down on my notepad, and it is like, a witness should prioritize safety. That's what I mean. So that means you could call law enforcement if there's an immediate threat of violence, and avoid intervening directly unless it is safe to do so. So providing support to the victim afterwards and documenting details can also be helpful. As long as you've been documenting, it could be helpful. And I'm gonna say this right here and right now. You have the abuser. The abuser will manipulate. They will try to make it look like they are the victim. So I want you to make sure to be aware, because you have the abuser. The abuser will make it look like they're the one that you're the one doing something. They're gonna, that the victim is doing something, and clearly the victim is not doing anything wrong. It is the abuser. The abuser will do that. So be aware of we all need to be aware for our environment, because you have people out there are actually doing these stuff. It does exist, guys. People will actually think that the abuser will actually think that the victim is the one that been doing something wrong. And turns out that is not true. The victim is not responsible for what the abuser is doing. So this is for law enforcement to know this, that the abuser will make the abuser will not they will abuser will blame it on the victim and not themselves. So we all need to be aware of that. So the next question is, what legal actions can be taken in response to a domestic disturbance? I would say legal actions can include restraining orders, pressing charges against the perpetrator, seeking custody or protege or protective orders. I don't know where I get protege from. Sorry about that. Yeah, and involving social services or child protective service if children are involved. If they're not involved, you don't need to worry about that. The next question is, what are the potential consequences for individuals involved in a domestic disturbance? There is a whole bunch of consequences. The consequences can include arrest, first of all, and legal charges, restraining order, loss of custody of children, if it has something to do with kids, yeah. So so it really depends, and the consequences include mandatory mandatory counseling or anger management courses or social and familiar repercussions. So yeah. Okay, the next question is that I come up with is, when should law enforcement be contacted during a domestic disturbance? I will say this. Law enforcement should be contacted immediately. If there is a threat of violence, if someone is injured, or if the situation is escalating beyond control. The next question that I've come up with is, when is it appropriate to intervene in a domestic disturbance? I will say this. It is appropriate to intervene if you can do so safely. Make sure you gotta do it safely and without putting yourself at risk. This might involve calling law enforcement or providing support to the victim once the immediate danger has passed. Next question. Hold on a second, let me read. Okay. When do domestic disturbances typically escalate to violence? Well, that's a great question that I come up with. Domestic disturbances can escalate to violence when underlying issues such as substance abuse, unresolved conflicts, I meant to say unresolved, or significant stressors or are present and are not managed effectively. Okay. The next question is, when should neighbors or witnesses report a domestic disturbance? Well, here's my answer. Neighbors or witnesses should report a domestic disturbance when they hear or see signs of physical violence, threats, or severe emotional distress that suggest someone's safety is at risk. That's how it's supposed to be. Only when you see this. That's why you see here, you see here, yep, you see in here. So next question. Answer this question. When is it necessary to seek a protective order in a domestic disturbance situation? Well, I wrote what I want to say because I write down what I'm going to say, and so yeah. Alright, the answer is, a protective order should be sought when there is a consistent pattern of abuse, like threats of violence, or any situation where an individual feels feels unsafe and at risk of harm from another person. Excuse me, I'm not even tired, y'all. That's the funny part. Anyway, next question. Why do domestic disturbances occur? Well, this is easy. And is it because the reason why I know these answers for it, because I have seen people gone through it, and I've gone through it myself with my family, with my own family in quotation. So yeah, that's how I know the answers. So back to the question of why do domestic disturbances occur. Okay, so the domestic disturbances occur due to a variety of factors, including interpersonal conflicts, stress, substance abuse, mental health issues, and unresolved past trauma. The next question that I've come up with, and these are great questions that I asked, which is amazing. Why might someone hesitate to report a domestic disturbance? Now this you guys need to hear. Yeah, if you're it, so the hesitation to report can stem from fear of retaliation, feelings of shame or guilt, emotional attachment to the abuser, like financial independence. You're depending on your mom for finances, or lack of awareness and available resources and support. Alright, next question is, why is it important to address domestic disturbances promptly? Okay, so here is my answer, and I wrote it down. I'm reading it. Addressing disturbances promptly can prevent escalation, protect those involved from potential harm, and provide an opportunity or intervention and support to resolve underlying issues. The next question is, why do some domestic disturbances escalate while others do not? As I said, it really depends. The reason why escalation can depend on factors such as the severity of underlying issues, the presence of substance abuse, the availability of support systems, and how conflicts are managed within the relationship. Yeah. Next question is, why is support from the community important in resolving domestic disturbances? Well, I will say this. The answer that I can, how I know, I'm gonna give you my take. Community support can provide resources, emotional backing, and practical assistance to victims, helping them to feel less isolated and more empowered to take steps towards safety and resolution. The question that I've come up with: how can individuals de-escalate a domestic disturbance? Now, individuals can de-escalate by staying calm, avoiding provocative language. We all know what language we're talking about: the F word, the other word, and the S word. Excuse me. Removing themselves from the situation if safe to do so, and seeking help from law enforcement or mediators if necessary. Next question is, how should law enforcement handle a domestic disturbance call? Now, this is how they're supposed to do it. Law enforcement should approach this with caution. Assess the situation. Make sure it's accurate. Because you have people, they will make it, as I said before, the abusers would make it look like it's the victim's fault, and turns out when you find out at the end of the line that the abuser is the one, yeah. So you gotta assess the situation. You make sure, check every angle, and make sure it's honest. Ensure the safety of all individuals involved. Provide immediate intervention if necessary, and other resources and support to the victims. Next question. How can victims of domestic disturbances get help and support? Oh, that's easy. Victims can seek help from local domestic violence shelters like hotlines, counseling services, law enforcement, and community support groups. They can also be they can also develop like safety plans and seek legal protection. Alright. Next question is, how can communities work to prevent domestic disturbances? Oh, that is very easy to say. Communities can provide education about healthy relationships, offer support services, create awareness campaigns, and establish strong social networks to support those at risk of or experiencing domestic disturbances. Next question. How does alcohol or substance abuse contribute to domestic disturbances? Huh. Talk about alcohol abuse. Alcohol abuse, alcohol. Now, alcohol and... oh, Lord Jesus, I don't know why am I yawning. Guys, before we jump into continuing that, fun fact, like fact of the day. Did you know that that when you yawn, you're thinking about somebody who you are in love with? Yeah, that's true. So back to what I was saying. So alcohol and substance abuse can impair judgment, increase aggression, lower inhibitions, and exacerbate. How do you pronounce this damn word? Exacerbate underlying conflicts, making it more likely for domestic disturbances to occur and escalate. Next question is, who is most at risk of being involved in a domestic disturbance? I would say individuals in high stress environments, those with substance abuse issues, those with a history of violence or abuse, and individuals in unstable or unhealthy relationships are at higher risk. Right, next question. Okay. Who should be contacted during a domestic disturbance for immediate help? I would say law enforcement should be contacted immediately for urgent situations. Additionally, trusted friends, family members, or domestic violence hotlines can provide immediate support and guidance. But I would say, yeah, I would say friends and family who you trust, but make sure they support you regardless of who you are, and they're not like your other family members, or they're not like your other friends. So be careful on that. So make sure that person, you trust them, they they're stick up for you, and all that kind of stuff. Make sure, because they can act like they care, but they don't give a shit. Excuse my language. I'm being straight up honest right now. Okay, the next question is, who can provide long-term support and counseling for those affected by domestic disturbances? I would say long-term support can be provided by therapists, counselors, support groups, social workers, and organizations specializing in domestic violence and family support services. Next question is, who are the key players in meditating and resolving domestic disturbances? I would say the key players include like law enforcement officers, social workers, family therapists, meditators, legal professionals, and domestic violence advocates, which I am myself. I'm a yeah. Next question is, who can provide legal assistance to victims of domestic disturbances? I would say legal assistance can be provided by attorneys, specialize in family law, domestic violence advocates, legal aid organization, and court-appointed advocates for all guardians. Yeah. The next one is what constitutes domestic abuse? Domestic abuse involves a pattern of behaviors used by one person to control or harm another in a domestic setting, such as a marriage or cohabitation. This can be include like physical violence, emotional manipulation, and financial control and sexual abuse. Alright, I think I hope I didn't mention this before. Yes, I did. Alright, so alright guys, I answered those questions already, so like we're gonna go. Hold on guys, because the question that I wrote, I don't know. Alright, so we're gonna, oops, sorry about that. Because the ones I already mentioned before. Alright, let's see here. Hold on, guys. I gotta. I'm gonna make because I already mentioned some of them. Alright, some of the questions. Alright, I think. Okay. I talked about that already. I told you guys. Okay, I'm gonna give you. There's a question I want to make sure. I don't want to repeat the same questions that I said before. That's why I'm there looking. Because I write a lot of questions, and I don't want to mention it twice. Okay. What are the signs of domestic abuse? Okay, I will say signs include physical injuries like bruises, cuts, broken bones. For emotional, anxiety, depression, withdrawal, controlling behavior, like isolating the victim from friends and family, like monitoring their activities. Guys, you know how I know this information? Because my own family did this to me. Yeah. So that's how I know about that. Because for years and yeah. The next one is financial control, restricting access to money. And this is what my mother did to me. Restrict access to my money. Because remember, because in previous episodes, I think I spoke about this, is where I mentioned that my own mother stole my own money that I've earned 4 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's kind of difficult for me because the funds that I had enough of, that funds could last me for another 2 years, a year or two. Cause I was planning to like get a car, like get my license, get my driver's license to get a car, but I can't do it because she stole. Yeah, so yeah, and the next signs we need to look for is verbal abuse, insults and threats. I've been threatened before. My own mother threatened me. Oh yeah, she does. She threw insults my way and threats in my way. Guys, you will not, the main insult she told me, and I will never forget it. is that um, me wishing that I wasn't born. Yeah, I want to let that sink in. I want you to say like, wait, what? Yeah, my own mother said that she wished I wasn't born, but I don't know if I came out of her, because there's no picture. So so I don't know. I don't know if I came out of her because there's no picture to show that I was ever in her belly. Never. The only thing I see is a picture of when she was pregnant with my sister. But the thing is, I don't know if I actually came out of her. I don't know. You know what I mean? So I can't say that I came out of her because I don't know myself. I don't. Because, sorry about that. Because there's no picture. Let's see. Next question is, what should someone do if they are experiencing domestic abuse? Okay, so if you are experiencing domestic abuse, you need to reach out to trusted friends and family and contact local domestic violence hotlines. Seek shelter in a safe location and consider contacting law enforcement for legal aid or for protection and legal advice. Yeah. The next one is, what resources are available for victims of domestic abuse? Well, there are a lot. There are a lot of resources. But the main one is, resources include like domestic violence, shelters, hotlines such as the National Domestic Violence Hotline, counseling services, legal aid organizations, and support groups. Yeah, things like that. And I need to hear this because, you know, I I am the victim here. I am the victim of abuse, of domestic abuse. So this applies to me. What legal actions can be taken against a perpetrator of domestic abuse? Well, and I said it earlier before, but and then I'll continue for more. Legal actions can include filing for a restraining order, pressing criminal charges, seeking custody of children, and pursuing divorce or separation proceedings. If you're married. This was I said, pursuing divorce. If you're married, yeah. And the next one is, this question is, why do abusers commit acts of domestic violence? This is the type of question I ask myself. And I asked myself that question, and I said, I want to let me think about it clearly on why. And I realized why. So, abusers may commit acts of domestic violence due to a need to control, psychological issues, learned behavior from past experiences, substance abuse, or social influences that condone violence. You know. Next question is, what might victims say in abusive relationships? They do, like, victims means victim. Let me say it again. What might victims stay, not say? What might victims stay in abusive relationships? Victims may stay due to fear of retaliation, financial dependence, emotional attachment, hope for change, social stigma, or lack of support and resources. Mm-hmm. Why is it important to address and report domestic abuse? Oh, that's easy. I even wrote it down on my notepad. Addressing and reporting abuse is crucial to protect the victim, prevent further harm, hold the abuser accountable, and potentially save lives. It also raises awareness and helps break the cycle of abuse. And as I said before, we have to be careful because people act like they know what they're doing. They will make it look like you're at fault when the abuser does blame the victim. So we gotta be careful on that. Mm-hmm. The next one is, why does domestic abuse often go unreported? No, this is very. When I came up with this question, I was like, oh, because I was wondering how would I answer this, but I thought to myself, and I'm like, oh, I realized it. What? Because I asked myself this question too. Why does domestic abuse often go unreported? I do ask myself that question, but when I think of it clearly, I realize why. It goes unreported due to fear of retaliation, shame, guilt, or lack of trust in the law enforcement, financial independence, and a lot of awareness about available resources. And I know I probably said this question twice, but I want to, you know. Why is support from friends and family crucial for victims of domestic abuse? I will say support from friends. Sorry about that, guys. Ooh, I just came out of nowhere. Support from friends and family provides emotional strength, practical assistance, and resources to help victims escape and recover from the abuse. We can also help them feel less isolated and empowered to take action. How can someone identify they're in an abusive relationship? That's easy. Besides, especially if it depends on the relationship, if it's romantic or non-romantic. So, signs include feeling afraid of their partner if it's romantic, feel afraid of their partner, experiencing controlling or manipulative behavior, being isolated from friends and family, enduring physical or verbal assault, and feeling worthless or depressed. You know what I mean? Next question is, how can a victim safely leave an abusive situation? But this is a good answer. Now, if you're planning on living in an abusive situation very safely, I say you do this. A victim can create a safety plan. Reach out to trusted individuals. Contact domestic violence hotline. Seek shelter. Involve law enforcement if necessary. It's important to have a plan in place and to leave when the abuser is not present. How can friends and family support a victim of domestic abuse? Excuse me. They can offer a listening ear without judgment, provide information about resources, help create a safety plan, offer a safe place to stay, and encourage the victim to seek professional help and legal protection. Mm. How can communities work to prevent domestic abuse? I think I said this one. I don't think so. But if I didn't say anything, communities can raise awareness through excuse me, education and campaigns, provide resources and support services, encourage reporting and intervention, and foster a culture of zero tolerance for abuse. Yeah. Okay. Next one is, how do different forms of domestic abuse, emotional, physical, and financial, manifest? Now, emotional abuse manifests as verbal insults, threats, manipulation, isolation. Where physical abuse includes hitting, choking, and other forms of physical form. Financial abuse involves like controlling access to money, preventing the victim from working, and manipulating financial resources. Mm. Next one is, when should someone seek help if they are experiencing domestic abuse? They should seek help as soon as they recognize they are in an abusive situation, especially if there's any threat to their safety or well-being. Mm-hmm. When did domestic abuse start becoming widely recognized as a serious issue? I will say this. Domestic abuse began receiving widespread recognition as a various issue during the women's rights movements in the 1960s and the 70s, which led to the establishment of shelter and legal reforms. So, yeah. So, our next question is, when is it appropriate to involve law enforcement in domestic abuse situation? I would say it is appropriate to involve law enforcement whenever there's a threat or physical harm. If someone has been injured, or there are many immediate safety concerns. Just saying. Next one is, when can a restraining order be obtained against abuser? A restraining order can be obtained when there is evidence of threats, harassment, or physical violence. The victim must typically file a petition with the court to obtain the order. When should someone intervene if they suspect a friend or family member is being abused? I would say like a same thing what I said before. This intervention should occur as soon as possible. As soon as there are clear signs of abuse, it's important to approach the situation with care, offer support, and encourage the victim to seek help. So let me see. Who is more at risk of experiencing domestic abuse? I will say, this: individuals with the most risk is women and children, elderly women, I would say elderly individuals, and those in marginalized communities. Like, however, anyone, like, regardless of gender, age, or socioeconomic status can be a victim. Led by anyone. Who can a victim of domestic abuse reach out for let me say that again. Can't even pronounce this. Who can a victim of domestic abuse reach out to for help? Friends, family, domestic violence hotline, shelters, counselors, law enforcement. Mm-hmm. Who should be contacted in an emergency domestic abuse situation? Oh, that's easy. Law enforcement or emergency service immediately. Call them immediately. Period. So, who are some organizations that provide support for domestic abuse victims? Well, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, local shelters, RAINN, RAINN, stands for Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, and various community-based domestic abuse organizations. Next question is, who can help in creating a safety plan for a victim of domestic abuse? Counselors, social workers, domestic domestic violence advocates. Hotlines can assist in creating a comprehensive safety plan tailored to the victim's needs and situation. So, yeah. What are the signs? Now I'm gonna answer this real quick. Alright. I'm gonna give you the signs. I'm gonna give you answers to the questions I found some more questions that I typed in. Hold on. Let me go into the answers of my questions. Hold on, guys. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, guys. I have some questions that I want you the guys to yeah, this is very important that I want you guys to know. So give me a minute. Let me, cause I got the questions. I separate the questions from the answers. I think I should do that. I put the questions in one area and the answers in one. Hold on. Oh, damn it. Hold on. I'm trying to get this. Cause I want you guys to know about the question that I have, that I want you guys to know. This is very important. I want you guys to. Yeah, I want you guys to. Hold on a minute. Hold on, guys. Alright. Okay. Hold on. Alright. I'm looking for the answers to that question. Cause I don't know why I did that. Cause I should have just put my answers to the questions so I could. Cause I didn't want to separate it. I got a whole bunch of shit on my notepad, so I gotta go find it real quick. Hold on a minute. I think I found it. Hold on. I don't see what I saved it as. I mean, on my notepad, what I put it. The title I put it in. Hold on a minute. I think I found it. I think I found it. Yes, I think okay. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the signs of abuse by a daughter towards her mother. I want you guys. I'm gonna give you the signs of abuse by a daughter towards her mother. So the first one is physical abuse, unexplained injuries or bruises, signs of physical restraint, fearful behavior around the daughter, emotional abuse. I would say like verbal insults or threats, manipulative behavior, isolation from friends and family. For financial abuse, unexplained withdrawals from bank accounts. Oh, this happened to me. Guys, when I mean this happened to me. I remember I had my bank account that I had because when I was with my first ex, I have a Wells Fargo account and I had it for a pretty long time. And then that's when my mother, in quotation, was doing some shady shit and steal and withdraw money out my account that I don't know about. And the bank had to call me and tell me, oh, by the way, are you taking out $5,000? I'm like, why would I take out $5,000 for? Yeah, seriously, I would not walk around with that amount of cash. No, never. So and it turns out it was somebody been going to my account without no explanation. Until I found out from the bank. The bank the lady have to ask me if I have somebody on the account, and I said yes, and yeah, and that's when she told me that um yeah, and also I could the lady asked me about if there's a, because she even described the woman, guys. The lady even described how the person looked like. Yeah. Cause she was wondering Because she had to look in the nose to see a withdrawal. So, yeah. So this happened to me. Missing personal belongings or assets with Lord Jesus. Yeah, guys. Unauthorized use of credit cards or checks. Types of abuse that includes like for physical, hitting, slapping, or any form of physical harm. For emotional or psychological, like verbal abuse, threats, humiliation, and manipulation. Guys, I went through all this shit because my mother humiliate the hell out of me and like to manipulate me. So, you know. But I know when I'm being manipulated because I'm a Scorpio. Yeah. For financial misuse of the mother's finances or assets. This is for the daughter to the mother. Neglect. Failing to provide necessary care or assistance. Potential consequences for a mother. Physical injuries. Mental health issues like for anxiety, depression. Loss of financial stability. And social isolation. For a daughter, the legal consequences, strain family relationships, and long-term psychological effects. So I'm gonna give you some steps for protection, so you guys could know. Yeah, I'm gonna give you some steps. The first, set boundaries. Clearly communicate unacceptable behaviors and consequences. 2. Seek support. Reach out to friends, family, and support groups. Document abuse. Always document them. Keep a record of like abusive incidents, including dates and details. Number 4, create a safety plan. Plan where to go and who to contact in an emergency. Number 5, legal measures. Consider restraining orders or legal action if necessary. Now, I'm going to give you some available resources like domestic violence shelters and hotlines. I mentioned this before. Counseling services like social services and community organization. Legal aid services. And when during arguments or stress, abuse often occurs during like heightened emotional states. When seeking professional help, if the abuse is escalating or causing significant harm. When involving law enforcement, when there is immediate danger or ongoing physical abuse. When identifying triggers, consider if specific events or stressors are triggering the abuse. When alternative living arrangements, when safety cannot be ensured in the current living situation. Why? Why like reasons for, what are the reasons for abuse? The reason is psychological issues or unresolved trauma in the daughter. Substance abuse or addiction. Power dynamics or control issues. You have I would say endurance of abuse, that'd be why. Fear of losing the relationship, lack of resources or support, hope for change. Importance of addressing abuse. To prevent long-term harm. To protect the mental and physical health of both parties. The daughter's unawareness. That's probably why the daughter's unawareness. Denial or minimization of behavior. Lack of understanding of abuse dynamics. Why is probably like I would say mother and daughter dynamics, emotional complexity, and independence, like cultural or family expectations. How? Confrontation. Choose a safe, neutral environment. Use I statements to express feelings and concerns. Like outside family support, involve other family members in interventions or support plans. Safety plan include emergency contacts, safe place to go, and steps to take in case of immediate danger. Like therapy and counseling, professional help can address underlying issues and improve communication. I would say documenting abuse. Keep detailed records of incidents, including date stamps and descriptions. Who? Confidants, trusted friends, family members or support groups, professional help. Who? Yeah, counselors, social workers, and domestic violence advocates. Like mediators, trained professionals who can facilitate communication and resolution. Safety plan assessors, domestic violence counselors or social services. Emergency contacts. I would say like friends and family hotlines. For example, the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Now, taking these steps can help address and mitigate the effects of abuse, ensuring the safety and well-being of both the mother and the daughter. Yeah. So that is it, guys. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you. These are the information that is very important that that some people need to hear. If you are going through that situation, if you are a victim of the domestic abuse, these are the resources what you need to know about domestic abuse and what to do. And I give you signs. I answer questions and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that being said, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that for everybody for joining in and being a part of the movement. I appreciate that. I am going to go eat something. I just only eat one food and that's it. I have to go cook some food. So yeah, I have to eat some lunch. Because I said, you know what, before I even eat my lunch, let me film this episode for you guys. So yeah. So, alright guys, love you. Thank you so much for joining. And thank you for all that you guys have done. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are new to this channel, hi, my name is D First King, aka Angel Sapphire. Yes, guys, I got a long ass name, Angel Red Sapphire, because I go by Angel. My nickname is Red, and my nickname is Sapphire. And so yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. Make sure to find me on social media. All my links are in the description below. And don't forget to check out everything, guys. Everything that I've been coming out. And my commercial is coming out soon. Yes, guys. I put together a commercial. And yes. So make sure to stay tuned and keep it locked. More new stuff. Exciting news are coming your way. Peace out and God bless. I am your host, The Fresh King. And you are watching Powerful Movements Podcast. And I'll see you in the next one.